Hey everybody, Paul Greene-Dennis here, and figured, you know what, wanted to try something. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Alright. Okay. Okay.
In the 15th
Alright, just
congressional
want to make
district.
sure.
It is the only Bronx congressional district, and it includes the Bronx neighborhoods, a lot of them: Allerton, Bathgate, Baychester, Belmont, Claremont, Fordham, Melrose, Morrisania, Morris Park, Mott Haven, Riverdale, Spuyten Duyvil, Tremont, Olinville, Norwood, Highbridge, Van Ness, West Farms, Williamsbridge, and Woodlawn. It's the whole borough of the Bronx. Tonight's program is presented in partnership with the League of Women Voters of the City of New York, a nonpartisan political organization that advocates for informed and active participation in government and works to increase understanding of major public policy issues. Also, the program is co-sponsored by the Bronx Times. Folks, primary day is Tuesday, June 23rd, and the early voting period is Saturday, June 13th through Sunday, June 21st. For more information, visit vote.nyc. And now let's meet the candidates. There are 3 candidates on the ballot in this race. Former Assembly member Reverend Michael Blake, who also served as vice chair of the
So this
Democratic
is a
National
debate
Committee. Welcome,
between Reverend
Mr.
Michael
Blake.
Blake
Reverend
and
we
Jose
appreciate you
Vega
joining us.
that
Always good to be with you.
went down.
And
I never got to
a
watch it,
gentleman
so
named Jose
this
Vega,
is
who's a
what
political
this is.
organizer and associate of the LaRouche movement. And the third candidate is the incumbent Congress member Richie Torres. Regrettably, Congressman Torres just declined the invitation
Pathetic.
to participate.
Pathetic. Pathetic. Don't show to debate. Pathetic. Anyway.
In tonight's program, something we regret, let's put it that way. Candidates in tonight's debate, I will direct the question to one candidate. That candidate will have 90 seconds to respond, and then the other candidate will also have 90 seconds to respond. The moderator, that's me, reserves the right to ask follow-up questions and also to allow for rebuttals and dialogue. Please note that after the initial answers from each candidate, no statement can be longer than 30 seconds, and please note there will be no opening statements, but at the end of the program, each candidate will have 1 minute to offer a concluding comment. And one final note before we begin, the questions on tonight's program include those submitted by the candidates themselves. So let us begin with our program. Mr. Vega, in your campaign, you say that you want to bring an end to the two-party system, and in fact, you're also running on the independent line. Also, your website clearly states that you're an associate of the LaRouche movement, and you worked with the LaRouche movement from when you were a teenager. It's hard not to note that critics of the movement, including the Anti-Defamation League, have extensively documented a history of anti-Semitism, racism, fringe conspiracy theories, all of that credited to or discredited to the LaRouche movement. Is this the sort of profile that Bronx constituents need now from their Congress member?
Well, Gary, thank you for bringing that up, and thanks for hosting this debate.
Sure.
The first time I was eligible to vote was when Bernie Sanders ran in 2016, and I was a believer in the Democratic Party then. And when I saw how the Democratic Party conspired against Bernie Sanders, how Hillary Clinton worked with the DNC, as was exposed in the WikiLeaks emails, and then I saw how President Obama was going after Edward Snowden for exposing the truth about the surveillance state that was going on, and he went after Snowden the way he did, and then Bernie Sanders was sidelined by his own party. I realized right there and then that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party of today stand for the same thing. We saw that with the war in Iran that broke out, where they both could have, the Democratic Party could have brought a war powers resolution at the end of March. Gregory Meeks could have done so. He had the votes from 4 Republicans, and he chose not to.
That he did. That's why when me and Caleb, that's why I went in CPI wearing the No Kings parade protest, my ass. When we intervened on that parade, it's because they did not have a demand. Again, the No Kings parade, which was a Democrat-funded parade, did not have any demands to end the war with Iran. And that's why we were saying hands off Iran. Because of what Jose Vega said, when you had a war powers resolution to end it, and they did not do it at all. But yeah, he's absolutely correct.
And as for my association with the LaRouche movement, that's where I learned the truth about FDR and his presidency and what a real Democrat could actually do to revive the United States after a Great Depression, which is some of those principles that we need now. And it is through the LaRouche movement that I learned about the Oasis Plan. And I learned that real culture, beautiful culture, classical culture, should be provided for everybody everywhere on this planet. And they worked with people like Amelia Boynton Robinson, Hosea Williams, some of the biggest civil rights figures. So frankly, judge me by my enemies. Henry Kissinger is one of our enemies. George H. Bush calls us anti-Semitic.
Okay, there you go. Mr.
Yeah.
Blake, you get a chance to respond to that.
Yeah, good.
I'm running in the Democratic primary as a Democrat. And you have to ask yourself, you have three options here. My name is Michael Blake. I'm born and raised in the Bronx, Cruston and Burnside, PS 79, DeWitt Clinton High School, 118. And I've had the opportunity to be your assembly member for 6 years. We created the My Brother's Keeper program. We were able to feed families during COVID. We were able to come together to make sure that people were helped. And prior to that, I worked for a Democratic president in Barack Obama, and I think it's very clear we miss President Obama and the First Lady given what's happening with Trump and the nonsense right now. And so to the question, we have to ask ourselves, who is ready to be our Democratic candidate? We have an opportunity in this primary. I've said very clearly, I oppose the war. We have to lower the price of rent, groceries, Con Ed, and gas. We actually have to protect our immigrants as opposed to Richie Torres, who is supporting ICE. We have to be very clear that we are going to stand up for our people as one. It's the reason why I have the most endorsements in this race, including our opportunities with labor unions as well. And we're just asking right now that when we think about who you want to be the Democratic nominee for this district, my name is Michael Blake, and I'm asking an opportunity to be your representative because we deserve better than Richie Torres, and we actually absolutely need a moment right now where we stand up for our people.
Did you want to respond to that, Mr.
Sure,
Vega?
absolutely, yeah. I just want to tell the people at home that they need to reckon with what they want out of the Democratic Party. Right now, they seem to be aligned on the exact same things. They both want the war to continue. In fact, Gregory Meeks just introduced the Stand for Ukraine Act. You know.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Disgusting. So basically, he wants to continue to fund band-right Nazis in Ukraine. That's the whole entire Democrat Party, basically. But yeah, they want to continue. These neocons want to continue fighting Russia, supplying weapons to band-right Nazis in Ukraine, who conscript their own citizens who don't want to fight. So, yeah.
The Democratic Party and the Republican Party are both the war party. We don't see a shred of FDR in this party at all. And I'm saying let's go back to that.
Did you want to respond to that?
It's just factually not true, right? I mean, so let's just be clear. Like, to say that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are the exact same is absolutely not true. The reality is this. At the end of the day, we need to end the war. There's a genocide that's happening that needs to end. We need to help our communities on the ground. And you get to ask yourself, who do you want to represent our communities right now? I'm running to be the Democratic nominee because we have the opportunity to change the game for our community as one.
Both parties passed Section 224.
Let's keep order here, gentlemen. To you, Mr. Reverend Blake, a leading statement in your campaign is to fight for jobs and justice for everyone in the Bronx and make the borough more affordable. Realistically, how can an individual Congress member out of 435 really impact these issues when, let's face it, this is the kind of thing we hear from every Democrat to have said what you're fighting for?
Well, you haven't had every Democrat like me who has actually created jobs in the Bronx, who's actually made sure people had opportunity to have food on their table during COVID. by working with organizations all across the Bronx, whether it be the Renaissance Youth Center or Green Bronx Machine. What are the ways we actually can create jobs? First, we have to have more access to capital and contracts for our businesses to actually have that opportunity in a real way. Second, we have too many seasonal retail jobs throughout the Bronx. We need high-wage jobs that actually can make sure that more people have opportunities. When you see that healthcare is such a prevalent force throughout our communities, we need to make sure there's a pipeline to help our students, which means we got to help more students go to school and graduate from school so they can get the jobs of the future and the jobs of right now. When we think about it, at the end of the day, we have been in this situation because we have not focused in making sure that we're creating jobs that will last for so many years and decades down the line. That is what I'm laying out. But it also means that we got to address affordability. And we talk this at the same time. Having a federal universal child care, actually having a local median income, ensuring that we actually create spaces to make housing more affordable. Not only will you have a job that can pay these bills, but you're lowering your bills at the same time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vega.
Well, first of all, you just have to replace the entire Congress. I mean, Democrat, Republican, look what just happened. There was a vote in the House of Representatives for Section 224, which would unite the Israeli army and the United States Army to share military technology intelligence.
Yep.
And that just went right through. Democrats and Republicans all voted for it.
Oh, yeah. They're uniparty on that for it. Oh, yeah.
It's all a unit party, and I'm saying let's just replace the entire Congress right now
Amen.
with 25 to 35-year-olds. And we have to do that by catapulting a national movement that is inspired by the idea that we can actually rebuild the United States that has collapsed in its infrastructure. We need to have a new CCC Corps. Something that I advocate for is called the Space Civilian Construction Corps. Take the young men and women of the Bronx, have this be the pilot program, have them work with the Army Corps of Engineers, work with union leaders who know about labor, and have them take classes at night at places like Hostos and Bronx Community College, where they can come and they can be part of real projects, like a cross-Bronx train line that can go from the east side of the Bronx to the west side of the Bronx into Manhattan underneath the George Washington Bridge, which was supposed to be the case for what the George Washington Bridge was supposed to be for. It was supposed to have rail, have the young people of the Bronx build it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Blake. Did you have a response to that?
So I just want to make sure we're very clear. Mr. Vega has said that all members of Congress should be replaced. So I just want you to internalize this here for the Bronx. So that would mean that AOC should be replaced, according to Jose Vega. And
Yes.
he's nodding his head, so I want to make sure we're very clear on this right here.
Yes.
I'm all right, yeah.
He's saying that we should remove people such as Rashida Tlaib, who has been speaking out against the war. And so when we think about what's being said, Maxwell Frost, who's been incredible in Florida, transformational leaders.
But did Rashida Tlaib also vote for the Stand With Ukraine? Didn't she also do that? You want to bypass that, though.
So let's just make sure we're saying this on record. You're opposing the war.
Time is up.
You're opposing the war, but you want to remove Rashida Tlaib, who has a resolution to end the war.
Can I respond?
You can get the final words.
Thank you
Go ahead.
kindly. Rashida can stay. Ilhan Omar can stay. I mean, there's been a handful.
So it's not
can
everyone.
I take my
so
time?
So it's not everyone. then.
No, just, there's a couple of handful of people, Ro Khanna could stay, Massey should stay, Ilhan Omar should stay, Rashida should stay. I'm
So
sure
we're
there's
good
a
with-
handful
so
of
we're
others.
good with- we're good
But
with-
frankly,
so there
the
was a-
whole uniparty's got to go.
So just want to make sure we're
Right.
clear. So then there's some Democrats and even a Republican that Mr. Vega is saying is fine to staying.
Yeah.
So it comes down to leadership and being the right type of candidate.
Okay,
Do I
thank
get
you
to
very much.
respond to
Let's move this forward a little bit. I guess it's to you, Mr. Vega. Just yesterday, Iran attacked Israel with ballistic missiles after an Israeli attack on Hezbollah, which is, of course, the Iranian-backed militant group. It is the first time that Iran has attacked Israel since the early April ceasefire. This entire situation certainly appears to be escalating literally right at this moment. If you're elected to Congress, what actions would you recommend the U.S. take to begin the desperately needed process of bringing peace to the region once and for all?
Well, the first thing to do is to hold the Israeli government accountable and have them declare their nuclear weapons.
Yep.
There was
Amen.
a letter that the Congress
Amen.
sent recently, 30 of them from the Progressive Caucus, that sent a letter to Marco Rubio with all this evidence detailing why we know Israel actually has access to nuclear weapons. And that's a problem because these people who are going after Iran for supposedly a theocratic nation we can't have a theocratic nation have nuclear weapons. Newsflash, we already have
Have one.
two theocratic nations right now. The United States, under the Marco Rubio Trump regime, and Israel are two theocratic nations right now that are threatening to blow up the entire planet if Iran doesn't bend their knee to the will of, what the United States and the British want, quite frankly. And we see that happening with the Ukraine as well.
Yep.
It's the same tactics as well, where they
Yep.
want to keep us in a perpetual war. I'm saying let's cut the BS out. Let's actually work with Iran. Let's work with Russia. Let's work with
Yes.
China. And let's
Yes.
not fall into the trap
Yes.
of perpetual war.
Thank you very much, Reverend Blake.
Actually do win-win business instead of gunboat diplomacy with these countries. Thank you.
There should be 3 candidates on this stage tonight. Richie Torres is not showing up for debates or forums, in large part because he doesn't want you to hear the truth to this question that was just asked about the war. Richie Torres is lying to you when he sends out mailers and saying that he opposes the war. On the Guy Benson interview in June of 2025, Richie Torres stated clearly that he supports the war and concretely also supports the U.S. and Israeli government in the actions they're taking against Iran. You have never heard Richie Torres actually say he opposes the war. His mail, which is lying to you, is indicating that he wanted to take action against Donald Trump having unilateral power.
Now that I know you worked for Obama, did you support what happened in Libya? That whole bombing campaign in Libya to chattel slavery? Just thinking about that.
So let's be very clear. I am saying that we have to end the war. We have to end this genocide, that you can be critical of a government that does not make you against the people. And very clearly, when we think about what's happening here in the community, this is personal for me. World Central Kitchen came to the Bronx and helped so many of us during COVID. One of the individuals who was killed was attacked when the Israeli government hit their envoy and then lied about it. So this is personal for all of us. We need to end this war. We need to make sure that black and brown communities are not being harmed. And we have to be very clear. I oppose the war. Richie Torres supports the war.
Thank you very much. Mr. Vega, did you want to respond? You okay?
Yeah, just a point of unity. Will you join me in having Israel declare its nuclear weapons? If either of us get in the Congress, or I'll support you if you want to go on that.
Well, we've already indicated that they absolutely should, but I want to make sure to that degree we focus on at the end of the day, do we oppose the war? The answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We
Full
agree
stop.
on that.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Reverend Blake, let's talk about immigration policy. The recent revelations about inhumane conditions at the Delaney Hall Detention Center in New Jersey have underscored ongoing criticism of the federal government's entire immigration policy. In fact, according to data collected by the New York Times, most detainees at the Newark facility have not been convicted of crimes. And today it was revealed also it costs $200,000 a day to detain immigrants at Delaney Hall. The corporation operating it has a contract that could cost the United States as much as $788 million. In the Bronx, immigrants make up 34.6% of the Bronx population, representing over 478,000 people, and many are concerned that they themselves, their families, their neighbors could be targeted, arrested, even deported. So, if you're elected to Congress, how do you represent their interests? Because after all, they're the ones who would have put you into the United States Capitol.
My full name is Michael Alexander Blake. My family is from Jamaica. I'm named after Michael Manley and Alexander Bustamante. So we start from the place that I'm a son of immigrants. You know, my mom, who worked for 40 years at a manufacturing plant and raised 4 boys. My daddy, who worked at St. Barnabas Hospital as a union man. And too often the immigration conversation is not holistic. It's about the Latino community, it's about the Caribbean community, the African community, the Asian community, all of us intertwined. The Albanian community and all of us that are in this moment together. A major difference in this race. Richie Torres voted for the Laken-Riley Act. The Laken-Riley Act increases deportations by ending due process. Richie Torres voted to express gratitude for ICE. So when we think about the difference, I would say we need to repeal the Laken-Riley Act. We equally need to have more immigration lawyers to protect us. We need to designate our community centers, our schools, our places of worship as safe havens. We need to make sure that we abolish and prosecute ICE while at the same time making sure that we have public safety protections. Our immigrants are not safe because of Richie Torres. And again, if he was confident in his answers, he would sit here on this stage and tell you the truth. But when you go to the Politico article that says Richie Torres deportation flip-flop, he stated that he supported the Lake and Riley Act to deport more people because he actually wanted to prepare to run for governor. Richie Torres does not want to be your congressman. Richie Torres wants to be aligned with AIPAC and help himself. I am here for immigrants. Richie Torres is here for ICE.
Thank you very much.
Will you
Mr.
hold
Vega,
Israel
your
accountable?
thoughts on
Because they're the ones
immigration
training
policy?
ICE.
Well, you know, first of all, I want to contextualize this. When my stepdad was taken illegally by ICE in the week leading up to Thanksgiving, and he was held in Delaney Hall, and my mother and I drove over there, and it was the most insufferable thing ever trying to get any kind of answers from them. And then he was flown over to Arizona and then Texas, making it impossible for us to go see him. But let's be straightforward about something with ICE and what it actually is. You know, it's about the expansion of the surveillance state. It's about the expansion of spying on American citizens. You know, we saw that with the expansion of surveillance that Obama had actually done, which led to things like the Patriot Act getting expanded and letting companies like Palantir come in and spy on everyday people. And they're testing it out right now with undocumented migrants who are coming here. They're treating them like animals and cattle because they're going to do the same thing to American citizens. There was actually a security memorandum done by President Trump that designates anybody who is against the Trump administration or against ICE is now considered a domestic terrorist. And so they've done these decades, the 2 decades now, of research on undocumented migrants, spying on them, just so they can do it to American citizens. So we have to go over the entire surveillance state. Because ICE is the CIA, it is the FBI, it is the NSA, and it all needs to go.
Thank you very much. I'm just curious, and I think other people would be. Where is he now? Did he get deported? Or
Yes, he did.
He did.
He did.
I guess we're sorry to hear that. Thank you. Go ahead, Reverend Blake.
It's important to make sure we also crystallize this point. Richie Torres has taken a double max out check from the CEO of Palantir, which is leading the effort on deporting people as well as the war. Richie Torres and the CEO of Palantir called people useful idiots and said that a genocide is a figment of your imagination. That is all documented. Simultaneously, as we think about what's going on as relates to immigration policy and the war, Richie Torres is clearly one
Of the north and south of the borough of the Bronx.
Absolutely. Well, you know, wealth is a good thing for people, and everybody needs it. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, everybody needs the wealth, and I'm happy for the people who have it. You know, but what we're dealing with is a systemic issue
about
right
that.
now. You might remember, Gary, a man named
StreamYard
Roger
went a
Starr, who
little
was
vague.
deeply unpopular in New York City because he called for planned shrinkage, 1976. In fact, that was at the period at which some of the worst fires that were overtaking the Bronx is burning, started happening. He just said, let's just cut 2/3 of city resources in the Bronx and other places in New York City, some parts of Brooklyn, some parts of Manhattan, and so on and so forth. There was a systemic genocide that happened to the people of the South Bronx, and those repercussions we are still feeling today. I'm a big believer in atonement. I'm a big believer that one of the ways in which we can atone is just by developing a brighter future. Let's take the young people who can still have a future now and give them the labor skills they need to rebuild the community that was destroyed and rebuild the Bronx so that families of the Bronx can have a better future for generations to come, for posterity. And that will better the lives of everyone, not just the people in the South Bronx or the North Bronx, but the entire country as a whole. A real oasis plan for here and abroad.
Thank you very much, Reverend Blake.
We have for too long been described as the poorest congressional district in the country. We have been disrespected over and over again. People will come to the Bronx to go to Yankee Stadium, they'll go to Bronx, go to Botanical Garden, they go kick it at great places like Bronx Draft House or Bronx Ale House and so many different places. They go to Lit Bar, they'll do all these incredible things, but then we'll not talk about the economic challenges that are happening. And to your question, the disparity that happens throughout the Bronx. People don't realize too often that the same Park Avenue in this district is the same Park Avenue down in Manhattan. So what do we have to change around affordability? Instead of having area median income, we need local median income. That would actually make sure that we're not including Westchester, Rockland, and Suffolk County when actually making our calculations for truly affordable housing. We need to have a federal universal child care because that will allow us to make sure that our communities are actually safe and secure. We need to make sure that we're protecting what's going on in public housing with NYCHA and hold people accountable who are actually not making sure we have truly safe, affordable public housing. When we take these kinds of steps, we can actually then make sure that we all have a chance to thrive at the same time. Look, we have to lower the price of rent, groceries, and gas. We got to lower the price of Con Ed. We have to end this war because this war is leading to our prices going up and leading to the prices of your food also going up and being more expensive. But if we take the steps of federal policy of a local median income and increasing income limit applications, you should not have to be so rich or poor enough to get access to a home. Everyone deserves a fair home.
Gentlemen, very quickly, favorite restaurant in the 15th Congressional District?
Just one? Okay,
Name it
okay.
quick. Come on, we wanna go.
VFO.
VFO, okay, the Reverend Blake?
Bronx Draft House, 884 Girard Avenue.
All right.
You could pull up and have a good time and get some great food.
Candidates, thank you very much. We have, I think, covered a lot of material, and let's start with our closing statements. And each candidate will have 1 minute, and we'll start with you, Mr. Vega.
Look, I think the difference is pretty clear here. We both clearly want what's best for the Bronx, and we're both going after Richie Torres, but I'm not just interested in Richie Torres because everything that I have said about him or Michael Blake has said about him is true. He has taken money from Palantir, but that is systemic. He's not the only Democrat taking that. Cory Booker is one of the worst people on AIPAC. So is Hakeem Jeffries. So is the majority of these bigwigs in the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. It's the same thing. If you want to vanquish the vampire that is AIPAC once and for all, then you vote for me and you support me because I know it didn't begin with Richie Torres and it doesn't end with him.
Thank you very much. Reverend Blake, your concluding comment.
To everybody in the Bronx, we love you, we appreciate you, we're grateful for you. And you have to ask yourself, if a member of Congress won't show up for a debate and they won't show up for work, then they shouldn't be your member of Congress. There's a very clear difference that exists in this race. We are saying that we deserve better and we can't afford to wait. I oppose the war, Richie Torres supports the war. I am here to protect immigrants, Richie Torres supports ICE. I am here to make sure we stand up for our people. Richie Torres is supported by Palantir. We are not only making sure that you make money, Richie Torres supported a cryptocurrency bill to help Donald Trump make money. There is a difference in this race. And so, from all the endorsements that we have, including 5 of the locals from DC 37, Unite Here, the Alliance South Asian Labor, just to name a few, we are here for the people. So, my name is Michael Blake. I am the 3rd name on the ballot. I am asking for your vote to be your member of Congress here in the Bronx. Join us at michaelblakeforcongress.com. We need you for early voting or on the day of. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Jose Vega, Reverend Michael Blake, both of you, thank you very much. I know while You might not agree on everything. I know you all agree with me that every eligible voter should get out and vote on June 23rd or for the early voting period.
Absolutely.
That voting period, that early voting period is Saturday, June 13th through Sunday, June 21st. If you have more questions, please visit vote.nyc and get those questions answered. Also, we want to thank our partners, the League of Women Voters of the City of New York. For more information, you can call the League at 212-725-3541. And also, we want to thank the Bronx Times for their support of this program and the other debates that we'll be doing all through the next couple of weeks. And for everybody in the Bronx, make sure to vote on June 23rd. Take care.
Okay.
All right. That's the end of that debate. I will say this. For those who are in the Bronx, do keep in mind that Michael Blake, technically in the Obama camp, as much as he talks a good game, like, do you really want to trust somebody like that? Whereas you've seen Jose Vega, like, in the community more than not, and he is willing to hold politicians accountable and do things that have to be done in order for, especially holding politicians accountable. So, and just be wary of voting for the establishment. So, that being said, I'm stream. All right.